So the Manor Lord team released a FAQ that had a bunch of awesome tips and tricks. So I thought I'd go through the document and then give my own thoughts and opinions on the different tips and tricks as well. So starting off with essential early game tips. The first question is, what should I build first to gather and store basic supplies? And they say start with essential structures in this order: a granary, a storehouse, a logging camp, a woodcutter. Postpone constructing burgage plots until these are in place. Do not upgrade the homeless people's tents to a workers' camp. So in general, I would agree with this. However, I'd say that if you're playing on like a harder difficulty, generally you'll always want to put down a logging camp first. And if you're not playing on a harder difficulty, then you'll have enough wood that you can put down a second hitching post, and that will make moving logs around your town a lot faster. So I would say that in general, you want a second hitching post at least, so you can order a second ox just to build things faster. And if you only start off with like the 2 logs on the hardest difficulty, obviously you have to put down a logging camp first. But in general, that's a pretty good answer. And the reason you want to postpone constructing burgage plots is it will take up a lot of your workers' time. And if you only have that 1 ox, again, that 1 ox will basically take all of its time building the burgage plots instead of the things that are important. And as soon as you get your granary and storehouse done building, you want to assign a family in them so that you can start moving your goods that are exposed in the wilds into the granary and the storehouse. So the next question is, should I focus on farming at the beginning? And they say avoid farming initially as it's a massive undertaking. Rely on hunting and gathering, burgage plot extensions to sustain your town, and note fertile areas for later use. At the beginning of the game, you can put down your farms and just not put down a farmhouse, and you won't have any families working them. That's generally what I would do. Honestly, right now, farming's pretty inefficient. So generally, I pretty much focus on the hunting, the gathering, and then vegetable plots and chicken coops. I find that chicken coops are more efficient than vegetable plots. However, obviously they are 10 more silver, but in general, silver isn't that hard to get. So I personally find that chicken coops are the best way to go. And yeah, I would definitely agree that farming is not worth going for at the beginning. You just don't have enough families, and it's pretty inefficient for what you get out of it, or for what you put into it. So the next question is, when should I start building burgage plots and food productions buildings? And they answered, a hunting camp is free to build, so provided there's a nearby herd of deer, you should build that as soon as your granary is up and running. A forage hut will depend on how close your nearest source of berries is. Slot it in as soon as you can, but you could also prioritize getting backyard extensions up and running instead. So I'd say the backyard extensions cost money. So definitely, honestly, even if the berries are far away, just put down your forager hut anyways. You're going to want those berries for sure. You may have to put like an extra person in there to transport the berries over as they're gathered, but it's definitely worth it. Backyard extensions are really, really nice, but it takes a little bit to get them set up, and you need the silver to be able to set them up. And if you're playing a lot harder difficulties, you only start with like 50 silver. So that can definitely be really hard to set up if you don't have the berries. So they say, how soon should I build a marketplace? And they say, establish a marketplace when your burgage plots are populated to distribute goods to the people. Food, firewood, clothes, and other essentials will not be distributed without a marketplace. It's important to note that marketplaces have a range-like effect based on goods present. If you have 100% of your needs, you're covering 100% of existing burgage plots regardless of location within the same region. However, there is a proximity effect in that houses closer to the market get their needs fulfilled first. There are other factors as well, such as getting goods to the market stalls, there being enough market stalls for the particular good, etc., that can interfere with the market supply. Please consider these first if you're having issues fulfilling the needs of your burgage plots. So this is all very true, and you definitely want to build your town around your market. So what I've been having the best luck with, and I'll show this in a video, I'll set up an efficient town in a coming video, but generally I'll build the market at the center of my town and build the houses around it. And you want to have your storehouses and granaries close to the market so that it doesn't take it's not very far away to set up the market plots there. And you need enough people in your granaries and your storage houses to actually make enough market stalls so that all of your houses have enough goods. That's really, really important. The reason that your houses aren't fully having their needs fulfilled, if you have the goods, of course, is that you don't have enough people working in your granaries or enough people working in your storehouses, depending on whatever good the houses don't have. And so clothing can be a little bit more complicated to set up, just to quickly point on that. If you're having issues with early clothing, all you need for the tier 1 clothing to get to tier 2 houses is leather, and that you get from using a tannery to tan the hides that you get from hunting. So you have to hunt no matter what, so that you can get the tier 2 or clothes, so that you can get your tier 2 burgage plots. So next it asks, is it important to have a church and other amenities early on? Assuming normal difficulties, a church isn't that important within your first year. It is only a requirement once you want to start upgrading Burgage Plots to level 2. A food stall with diverse food types, e.g. berries and meat, will boost village approval ratings, initially setting the stage for additional structures like a tannery and advancing to level 2 Burgage Plots. So personally, I would say as soon as you can get it down, put down that saw pit, get your 20 planks, and then build a church. Generally, you'll start with the 10 stone needed for the church. And the reason you want to have your church as high as you can is it will really raise your approval rating. While it does take a while to build, it doesn't require anyone working in there to give the approval rating, so it's really efficient for that. And as soon as possible, you want to start upgrading your Burgage Plots to level 2. And the reason there is because when you upgrade your Burgage Plots to level 2, you get 1 extra silver per month. And that's really important because the silver is needed for building the backyard extensions, and the backyard extensions give you the different things. Well, I mean, really whatever you want. You can get food, you can get hide, anything really from them. So very, very important to upgrade your houses to Burgage Plot level 2s as soon as possible. And to do that, you need the church. So definitely get your church down as soon as possible. It really isn't that hard to get. You just need the 20 planks. In general, you start with the 10 stone. So then we're moving on to general gameplay FAQs. So when is multiplayer coming? And they said not anytime soon, if at all. Please stop asking. Yeah, I mean, he said it was coming sometime after like 1.0 if it was coming at all. So I wouldn't worry about that for a while now. It's a single dev, remember, so unless he expands his team considerably, I wouldn't expect that anytime soon. Do you need empty houses for people to immigrate to your village? And then they said, yes, empty houses are necessary for attracting new villagers. Know that if you upgrade your homeless people tents into a workers camp, your population won't move out into empty Burgage Plots until you delete the workers camp. While this isn't a bug as such, it's causing a lot of confusion, so we do not recommend upgrading the homeless people tents in your starting region. Yeah, it is never worth upgrading the homeless people tents. Just don't. There's no reason to. Build the 5 Burgage Plots. It's easy. It's only like 10 logs or 5 logs, whatever it is. And, logs are infinite if you have the forester's hut. Don't upgrade to workers tent. Or workers camp. There's no reason to. So next, they said, can you set a maximum production limit on items? And the game says, no, the game does not currently support setting maximum production limits. However, artisan extensions can be paused by selecting the building in question and pressing the pause button located at the top right corner of the Burgage Plot UI. This is really important, being able to pause different artisans in case they're using up all of your supplies, especially the bowyer and the joiner shop. They'll use up your planks really quickly, and I find myself pausing them all the time if I need planks to build a building. So the next question is, why does my ox keep running away? We don't even need their answer. I can tell you, if you don't have enough hitching posts, and if you just don't have or it's not really if you don't have enough hitching posts, it's if you don't have enough overall space for all the animals you have. So make sure you have enough hitching posts, make sure you're upgrading them into stables. It's really cheap. It's like 2 planks or something. And, I find myself in the big towns having around 20 oxen. I'm not even lying, 20 oxen and then maybe 10 horses for all my trading posts. So if you didn't know, oxen are used for moving logs around your village. Horses are used for the trading posts to make your traders faster. I'm not sure if the traders hold more goods also if you have a horse. And finally, with the mules, I haven't really messed around with it too much, but mules are used for bartering. However, in the early access build that I've played the most of, the bartering system wasn't really fully fleshed out yet, so I didn't use it very much. Oh, and the next question was, what do horses, oxen, and mules do? And let's see what they say. Horses allow traders to move larger quantities of goods via carts. So basically, mules are used by the pack station to move goods between region, and oxen are used to haul timber. So basically what I said. Anyways, moving on to what is the King's Road and how do I connect to it? The King's Road connects all the regions. You need to build a road that ultimately connects to the pre-existing King's Road. There's a known issue where sometimes it says you're not connected even if you are. This is important for trade routes, but other than that, it's not too important. Just make sure you're building your trade post on the King's Road, but preferably close to your storage as well, so it doesn't take too long to move the goods to your trading posts. So moving on to our retinue. You can get a retinue when you build your manor. It can be increased in size by building certain buildings via the castle planner. To increase the size of your retinue, you must first build a garrison tower in the castle planner and then customize your retinue, spending treasury to add individuals. I'd say that as soon as you have a good income from level 2 Burgage Plots and trading, I would max out your retinue as fast as you can if you were playing in a combat type of game or scenario. Your retinue is generally stronger than a normal army, and it's much better geared as well. So definitely buy those upgrades for the retinue and max it out as soon as you can. Okay, so moving on to trading. Once you've built a trading post, you can import and export items. You have to set up a trade rule on each individual item you want to buy or sell. This can be found in the far left of each individual item line, which will be set to no trade by default. This is a drop-down menu that you can change. Setting the stockpile number will mean you can either be importing or exporting until your stockpile reaches the desired number using your trade rule to determine if this trading post will only import or export to reach the desired number, or do both to maintain it. While all goods can have a dedicated trading route set up, which means there is a dedicated merchant buying and selling that product, certain high-tier items, e.g. tools and weapons, can only be imported and exported once you've set up the corresponding trade route. This is done by clicking on the button on the far right of each individual item line and requires regional wealth to set up. I'd say that this is very, very important. Make sure that you do like expensive trade routes because you'll make the most money from them. Generally, the first trade route that I set up in every single match that I play is I'll set up the shoes trade route, as shoes sell for I think 5, and you get a bunch of shoes if you set up the cobbler as one of your artisans in your tier 2 Burgage Plots. So you can make a ton of early wealth from this, and as soon as you get wealth from that, I'd say start building your backyard extensions like your eggs, your orchard. Other than that, it's really important to trade in this game. Trading is how you make most of your money. You will make some money every month from your Burgage Plots being upgraded, but it takes a lot of Burgage Plots to make a big income from that, and the majority of your money is going to be made from trading, though he did nerf trading a bit with the lowering prices as you export more, so now you need to make multiple goods to export, so that's just something to keep in mind. But generally, if you export wood's an infinite resource, so generally, I would only want to export anything that is infinite and not export anything that you have a limited supply of. So like eggs are infinite, stuff like that. So then regional wealth versus personal treasury. Regional wealth found along the top info panel to the left of the settlement name is a representation of the wealth of your population. It is used to purchase backyard and artisan extensions for Burgage Plots, as well as animals like oxen, sheep, etc. to import goods at the trading post or livestock trading post. It is generated via trade, as well as level 2 or higher Burgage Plots, so that's just what I was talking about. And then we have the treasury, found in the upper right, and is representation of your character's personal funds, so it's like the Baron's funds basically. It is used to hire mercenaries, as well as fund the settlement and other regions using settler camps. It is generated via tax and other policies, as well as clearing out bandit camps. Currently, there's no policies, I don't think, that generate money from them right now. And then basically for tax, you need to have regional wealth. No regional wealth equals no tax income for your treasury. So we're going to stop there for this part of the FAQ. We're about halfway through, so I'll make a part 2, but I think that's about a good video length, at least for this first one. Let me know if you enjoyed this, and yeah, thank you so much for watching. I think that this is a really helpful fact. I'll have it linked below for anyone else to go back and read through it. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.